Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, welcome back. So today, as you guys read by the title, I'm going to be giving you guys a serious story time. No, this is not for clickbait. No, the story is not made up. This actually happened in my life. It's been 4 years since it happened, or at least almost 4 years, like 3.5-ish. So that's why I'm like even able to talk about it. Before, I was not able to even talk about it. Disclaimer, this may be triggering for some people. If stuff like this triggers you, I will click off of this video. This is my story and I'm just telling it. It's a new year, a new me. I don't let that situation define me. A lot of women are scared to tell their story. Before it happened to me, I used to always say like, oh my gosh, like just say something. Why are you hiding it? Why aren't you coming forth? Like, don't you want this to be exposed? And I can finally say that you do not understand until it happens to you. But before I get started, please give the video a big thumbs up and also comment down below and let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know any advice that you may have. Share your stories. This is a free zone to be able to just comment and say whatever you want. No one is here to judge you, and I do respond back to comments, so let me know something. Just let me know anything in the comment. I'm not going to talk too much in this intro. Let's just get right into the video. 2017, 2017. It was around, this was in August because I was just about to start my freshman year in college. So this is right before school, like literally like 2 weeks before college. I was working in a phone store. I'm not going to say what phone store because I don't want it to like, I just don't feel like naming any names, but you know, T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, one of those stores I was working in. And I actually really loved working there. That was one of my favorite jobs, but all of the workers were male. I was one of the only females. There was one other female. She had a lot of medical situations going on, so she was either not at work or like barely was there. Like she worked like 2 days or something like that. So basically I was like the main and only female. I should have had some red flags when I first got the job, because during my interview the manager was like, yeah, you're cute, you're one of the only girls, men like females to work, like you are gonna win, like you're gonna be at the top of the sales list because you're pretty face, like you're gonna bring the customers in. So at first I'm thinking he's just friendly, that's just like a compliment, you know, like I'm not thinking anything of like that he's interested in a way. I just seriously thought it was just like he was just being friendly, honestly. So time goes on. Literally I was there for like a month. I think I got hired the end of June because I remember I worked on the 4th of July and then I left in August. So it was like I was literally there for like a month, so 4 weeks basically. My shift was always the morning shift, so I worked like 8 to 3, like 7 to 3, like always in the mornings all the time. I never really did the night shift because at that time I did not have a car, I did not have a license. Where I worked, the bus stopped around like 8, and the last shift for my job was like not like 9, 10. Clearly I couldn't work a night shift because like the buses stop at a certain time. So the morning shifts is what I had no choice but to take. So the manager asked me like, Jay, can you stay? Like we have a call out, and you know, it's like it's a Friday night, you know how things get like at the store, people getting paid and stuff. So he's like, can you please stay? I declined. I'm like, no, I can't stay. The bus stops at 8 to take me home, so I'll be stranded here, and I know my mom was not about to come get me. So I'm like, I'm gonna be stranded here, so I have to leave at 3. I cannot stay, and if I do stay, the ladies I can probably stay is like 5 or 6 because I have to be able to catch the bus home because the bus stopped running early to my house basically. So he's like, I'll take you home, like it's fine, like you live near me anyway. First of all, that should have also been another red flag because we never talked about where I lived. And okay, he was a manager, and of course they have all your paperwork and your address and stuff like that, but that was a month ago. How would you remember where I lived? Like how did you, like how is that something that you remember? Like you're interviewing like hundreds of people, you like time is going on, like it's been a month now since my interview. So how is like how did you know where I live? So that should have been definitely a red flag for sure. He didn't really give me any of those signs like at work, but I guess because people were around, like I don't really know. But so he was like, we live near each other, I can just give you a ride home, like no problem, you don't have to catch the bus. So I'm like, why not? Like, he's my manager. I didn't think anything was going to happen. For one, we worked together, so if something was going to go down, obviously I would tell. So it was like, I didn't think that he would be that stupid to do something. And two, I'm like, he has a wife, he knows I have a boyfriend. Like, I just was not thinking that that would happen to me. So fast forward, I agreed. I said okay, like he's gonna take me home, stuff like that, like it's gonna be fine, like I'm okay. So we finished our shift, everything was fine. I did my orders, it was just me and him. Like, we closed the entire, like all day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. it was just me and him. We were the only ones in the store. Everything was fine. I didn't get any weird vibes, nothing. It's time to close. We close up, count the money, leave. I get in his car. First of all, another red flag, which I should have, like, now that I'm re-talking about it, it's like, come on, like all these red flags is popping up. But his car, like, so our store was in like a plaza, and his car was like all the way like far away from the plaza. It wasn't that far, but it was kind of far. It was like, why are you parked all the way here when the store is all the way over here, basically? Like, it wasn't like a far, like 5-minute walk or anything, but it just like, clearly if we're opening up the store, typically workers are like the first ones there. So it's like, why are you parked all the way over here when you could have got yourself like a good spot? And I know customer priority, usually they have like their cars like closer up, but it could have still been closer than what his car was, basically. So anyway, his car was kind of far, but I'm like, okay, let me just, maybe he went to lunch and there was no parking, this was the only spot. Like, I don't know, I was thinking of it. So I get in the car, although it was like the summertime, you know, at night it's kind of like breezy a little bit. And like I said, usually I leave around like 3, so it's still hot outside. I could still walk around with no jacket, no nothing, because it's hot. But I left later this time, so I literally didn't have like no hoodie, no sweater, no nothing, no long sleeve. So it was a little chilly at this time. And so I remember saying like, oh, like I'm cold. And I was like going like this in the car, and I'm like, I'm cold. And he was like, I'll warm you up. That should have been flag number 1. Like, now that everything is coming back, like that should have been flag number 1. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, warm me up, like what? So I'm just thinking it's like a joke type of thing. So I, again, didn't pay any mind. I'm just on my phone and stuff, and we're driving, and he's like, you're on your phone a lot. So I'm like, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, what we supposed to talk? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like awkward situations. Like, have you ever been in a situation that's like you don't really know what to say, or it's like a weird like situation, so you're just like on your phone to kind of like pass time? That's basically exactly what I was doing, just trying to pass time. So I'm just on my phone. He's like, you're on your phone a lot. And I'm like, I just like laughed. It was like, I mean, what am I supposed to do? He was like, I mean, you can talk to me. So I just didn't say anything after that, because it's like what do you say to that? We only been driving for like 2 minutes or whatever. So I'm like still like kind of like cold. Like, I guess he can feel me like shaking a little bit, because I'm like anemic. So like I get cold, even if it's hot outside, I get cold. So like I'm like shaking and stuff. I'm still like on my phone. And he was like, I'll warm you up, and grabs my hand and literally like tries to put my hand in his pants or whatever. So I yanked my hand back, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, you said your hands was cold. And I'm like, I can warm them up myself. Like, just turn the heat on. Like, I don't need to touch you for my hands to be warm. Like, I'm fine, I'm okay. So right then and there, I text my friend, and I'm gonna insert the messages. And I think I said like, something is weird, like it just don't feel right or something like that. Like, my manager is being weird. I text my friend, and she's like, what's going on? Like why you say that? Da da da. So I'm busy texting her. I never looked up to see where we were going, and when I finally did look up, I seen that we were going in a totally different direction than our home. Like, if we both live near each other and he knows where I live, there's only like one other way to get to my house, and that road that we were on was not it. So I'm like, where are we going? And he was like, oh, I'm about to take you somewhere real quick. And I'm like, no, like, take me home. I want to go home. My heart just drops. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is he about to do? So I text my friend and I'm like, if I'm not home in 15 minutes, call my mom, like, I'm just telling my friend, like, something is just not right. Call 911. Like, seriously, like, he's acting weird. So fast forward, he pulls over and all I see is like trees. Like, all I see is trees. Like, we're in like the woods or some type of like weird sketchy place. So he pulls over, he locks the door, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, what? Why? Like, I'm just thinking of the worst, like, scared for my life. Like, seriously, like, what the heck is going on? So he was like, give me a kiss. And I'm like, no. And he's like, come on, like, why not? Like, we here. And then I was about to open the door, and I think he felt me just about to just leave. He locks the door. So I'm like, oh my god, like, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm getting kidnapped and something else is like about to happen. Like, I just, like, so much was going through my mind. It was just like, I'm scared for my life. I'm texting my friend, I'm like, something is not right, like, something is off. And she's trying to call me and I'm like, stop calling me, like, he's gonna know, like, I'm telling somebody. So I kept trying, she kept calling me because, you know, like, she's my friend and she's worried. And I'm just trying to hurry him. I'm declining the call because I didn't want him to, like, react. I was watching something on YouTube about, like, if you ever got kidnapped, like, don't give your, like, suspect a reason to attack or a reason to, like, want to hurt you, basically. Like, just don't. Like, don't alert your suspect. Don't scare them into them thinking, like, oh, she's about to call 911, I'm gonna kill her now. Like, do not give them any reason to really harm you. Like, just act calm. Like, panicking makes things worse. So that's what I was basically trying to tell my friend, like, stop calling me. I do not want him to think anything is off. So he reaches over again, forces my hand back, trying to, like, make me touch his privates and stuff, pulling it out and everything, and, like, trying to, like, grip my neck for me to kiss him, like, all that stuff. Don't, you have a wife, like, what, like, why are you doing this? You have a whole wife, you have kids, like, you have a whole family, like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, my wife's not here right now, I'm with you, like, and all this stuff. So he proceeds to try to, like, grab me, like, literally, like, pulling me over here to the driver's seat. So at this point, I'm just like blacked out, honestly, but, like, I was smart about everything. So I'm like, okay, take me home and we gonna park up in front of my house and I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. That's exactly what I said to him. He was like, come on, like, what's the difference? We right here. And I'm like, I don't want to, like, this is the woods and stuff. Like, if you really want me, take me home and we gonna park up in front of my house and stuff. So he was like, all right, like, cool, I agree with that. I want you to feel comfortable, or whatever the case may be. Like, my heart is still, like, pounding, and, like, I'm trying to hold back the tears because I don't want him to think like something. Like, I did not want him to be thrown off. Like, one, he's a manager. Like, if he can lose his job, like, I do not want to be raped in the back of somebody's car. I don't want to be thrown in the woods. Like, I watch too many, like, scary shows and movies, and I've seen this too many times, and I know people who actually were, like, raped and sexually assaulted. So, like, I'm like, I cannot be raped in the back of this car. Like, he's driving and my heart is just pounding. I'm watching, I'm still texting my friend, like, cause she's like, text me, what's going on. I'm like, and I'm like, count down the clock. If I'm not home at this time, call the cops and then call my mom. Like, that's all I kept trying to tell my friend. I'm like, don't ask me no questions. Just know if I don't text you in the next 15 minutes, call the cops and call my mom. So we get in front of my house. The doors are still locked. I'm like, unlock the doors. He was like, no, like, you said you was gonna do what you're gonna do, so do it. And I'm like, unlock the doors, like, come on. Like, I'm playing it so cool, but I'm literally shaking inside, like, and trying not to cry, like, in front of him and stuff. So I'm like, just unlock the door, like, come on, unlock the door. And he's like, no, because then you're not gonna do what I want you to do. And I'm like, I will when you unlock the door. He was like, all right. He unlocked the door. I ran so fast. Like, that was the fastest I've ever ran in my entire life. And I literally just ran home, bust into the door, and my mom was on the couch and stuff, and she probably just seen it all over my face, and she's like, what's wrong? What happened? I'm like, nothing. I go upstairs crying my eyes out, like, literally. I'm about to get emotional again, but I'm not, because I haven't even cried about this in years. But I was so scared for my life, like literally so scared. Like, I don't think you guys understand how scared I was. So I go home, I'm upstairs, I'm just crying my eyes out. I'm talking to my friend's like, tell your mom. And I'm like, no, like, I'm scared. Like, I don't want to tell anybody. Like, I just don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I turned my phone off. I was off of social media. Like, I was like scared to death. And this is the kicker. So the next day, we worked together 9 to 3 from our original shift. He was there. It was just me and him. I come in, he's like, what's wrong? Like, I'm so silent and like just feel like dead inside, basically. And he's like, what's wrong with you? Like, coming to my office and stuff. And I'm like, no, like, I'm okay. I'd rather just stay outside and try to get people to come into the store. So I'm outside the whole day or whatever. And then the second shift comes, and there's this guy. I can't remember his name. What was his name? I can't remember his name, but it was this guy that I used to always like talk to. Like, we were kind of like cool. He was like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, nothing. So he goes in, clocks in, he comes back out, and he's like, I know something is wrong with you. Like, seriously, I can just tell, like, this is not you. You're never quiet. You're never, like, you just look like something happened. So, honestly, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never exposed the guy. I would have never even opened up or nothing, because, like, I don't know, like, he was there, and he was just saying, like, just tell me what's wrong, what's up. So I tell him what happened. I told him every single thing. He's like, you need to tell somebody, like, now. And I'm like, no, like, I'm scared. Like, he knows where I live. Like, I was scared. Like, if I get this man fired, he's gonna come to my house and try to do worse. So I'm like, no, like, I'm scared. Like, I'm just gonna play it off. I'm just gonna forget that it ever happened. He's like, no, like, you need to say something. And I'm just like crying outside to him and stuff, and he's like, yeah, no, like, you have to say something. So I'm like, I'm scared, like, please, like, don't tell. Like, I literally was scared. So then our other manager, so like his manager's manager, so like the boss's boss came, and he's like, and he was the one who like trained me and stuff. So he was like, what's wrong? Like, why are you not like yourself and everything? And I'm like, no, I'm fine, like playing it off. And then the guy, I can see him looking at me like, tell him. And I'm like, no, like, I'm scared. So the guy was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'll be right back. So when he left, I text the boss. We all had each other numbers. So I text him, and I was like, I lied earlier, cause I'm scared. I didn't want to say anything. Please don't, when you tell this and when you report this, don't say that it came from me. Just say it was somebody at the job. Like, please do not say that it was from me. So I texted him like everything, told him the story. He reported it, of course, to HR. Like the next day I worked again, and I seen him leaving, the manager. He was like, and everybody, he looked pissed, like so mad. And everybody was like, what's wrong, what's wrong? He was like, HR just told me I'm fired because somebody reported that I sexually assaulted them, da 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 da. So he's like pissed, and everybody all acting dumb, like, who, like, what happened? And he's like, I don't know, it was somebody in here. So I just was like on the side, just like, why would they do that? Like, why would they make a whole scene and like fire him right in the middle of a shift? Like, they didn't even wait to, like, I was kind of upset about that, because it's like, I'm here with him at work. He could have like did anything to me. Like, I don't know, I was kind of upset about that. But yeah, well, he basically got suspended, and the HR called me and said he denied everything, he lied, he said I'm lying and all this stuff. And then I thought about it. I had those texts from my friend saying like, I'm scared, call my mom, my manager's being touchy, like all of that. I had those texts. So I sent those texts to HR. I had all the proof, the timestamp. I was like, watch us on camera get into his car, then look at the text. It was like a 10-minute difference. So we were driving for like 5 to 10 minutes before like everything started. So there was like a difference, there was like a 5 to 10 minute difference from us leaving the store on camera then me texting my friend, the dates all lined up. Like everything I said was clearly true. So he basically at the end of the day got fired, and they were asking me if I wanted to switch locations. So I'm like, no, I'd rather just leave the store altogether. I already like working here, but I'm just not comfortable of him knowing like where I live, where I work, like stuff like that. Like I just was not comfortable. But thank God I was starting school around that time, so it was like I wasn't going to be home. Like if he was to stalk me, who knows, he probably was standing outside of my house. But either way, I did go right to school and I lived on campus, so I never really see him again. That was a scary time, like I'm not even gonna lie. And I always thought like girls who were raped or sexually assaulted, molested, and I was like, why aren't y'all saying anything? Speak up. Like, why are you being so scary? And now that it happened to me, I get it. Like, you kind of just want to forget that it even happened. You want to just move on. You don't even want to think about it. And I truly understand now, like when it happens to girls and when they just want to just be quiet and just forget. I understand that. Like seriously, I do not wish that on anybody. Although I was not physically raped, but I still was sexually assaulted by someone I thought that I could trust. Like a manager. Like now every job, like I have PTSD when it comes to managers, especially men. And then even women, because sometimes they are the ones that freaking act like they're your friend and you get invited to their home and then like their husband or something is like crazy, or I don't know, like that. I don't want to say ruined me, but it definitely opened my eyes that you cannot trust like anybody, like not even a manager from work. Like you need to work, like you need the money, like you need the job, and it's like you can't even fully trust a manager. So now I don't let any manager take me home. Obviously I'm not the friendly. I come to work, and that's it. Like, give this video a thumbs up if you're proud that I got past this and that I'm moving on and making my life just more positive. And also comment down below what you thought about the video and share some of your stories. And also don't forget to turn on that post notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see all of you guys in my next one.